Mm, okay. Uh, I guess it should be visible, no?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay. Okay. So, hi everyone. My name is Ishan Pandey, and thank you for joining into this workshop on Git and GitHub. So, without waiting any further, let's get started. And one thing, as it was already told, I hope everyone has like created an account on GitHub and has Git installed on their system. If you haven't done so, now is the time. It will hardly take 5 minutes, so you can do it before we start. Okay. So Git is actually a version control system. So what is version control? So version control systems are a category of software tools that help a software team manage changes to a source code over time. So during a software development life cycle, there are various versions of the source code. So a lot of changes are being done over time. So what a version control system does, it keeps recording the changes and keeps a track of it. So why is it useful? So a lot of the times, sometimes like computer may crash, or sometimes important files may get deleted, or you may want to look at the earlier version of the code. So a version control is very helpful in dealing with that. So in case you suppose you delete some important stuff, or you lost your computer crashed, then like version control system saves the entire history of your source code, and you can always look at all of the versions. And in case of computer crashes, like there's always a web service for that version control system. Like in our case, it is GitHub, so it always be hosted online. Next thing is collaboration. So we know that programming is a team sport. So suppose a lot of people are working from different parts of the world to a single code base. So it becomes like without a version control system, it becomes very cumbersome to like incorporate all the changes into one single project. So like if you are using a version control system, most of the changes are merged automatically by the like the system. So who made what kind of changes, when it was made, what is the change about, all of those things are recorded automatically into the repository. Second thing is branching and merging. Especially in the case of Git, it provides the facility of rapid branching and merging, which facilitates nonlinear development of the source code. So what it means is that developers can work in parallel and bring all of those changes together very effectively and efficiently. So the entire experience is very seamless and like very pleasing for developers to work on. So Git is an open source distributed version control system. So we have already discussed what is a version control system. So what is a distributed version control system? So in the right hand side in the diagram, so in case of a distributed version control system, we have a central repository and a concept of local repository. So every developer is given a local repository to which they will publish their changes, and after a sufficient number of changes, they can push their changes to the central repository. So central repository is accessible to every developer, but he will work on the local repository. So in order to make your changes visible to your peers, you need to first push those changes to the central repository. And in order to see those changes, you need to pull it from central to your local repository. Right. It runs at the command line on your local machine and allows to keep track of your files and modifications in a repository. In our case, it is a Git repository. So Git repository means that it is a collection of different versions of a code. Like it contains the entire history of your source code from beginning to the end. What are the advantages of using Git? Rapid merging and branching. So branches in case of Git are very lightweight, and like it doesn't hurt to like create a lot of branches to try out a new idea, or simply like if you want to fix like incorporate a new feature or fix a bug, you can just go around creating new branches for doing that stuff. And merging is also very seamless. It supports non-linear development, so a lot of people can work in parallel, and merging is very easy. Next thing is data assurance. So this thing is already discussed, as it keeps the track of entire history. So in case you accidentally delete anything, or at any point in time if a change is published, then you can be rest assured that this change will like always be there with you. Yeah, anytime you want to see that change, you can go back to that commit. Next thing is automatic garbage collection. So this Git facilitates this automatic garbage collection. So a lot of the times in a large code base, there can be loose objects hanging around. So what is a Git repository? It has, on the very basic level, Git repository is a collection of objects. It's an object store. Object is a key value pair. So the key is a hash, and the value is the snapshots of your source code. So a lot of the times when suppose you delete in a branch, then its objects and its snapshots, the objects are like hanging around, they are no longer needed, so they need to be deleted, so for efficient working of the software. So this Git facilitates this feature for automatic garbage collection, and you can also do it manually using Git prune also. And distributed development, yeah, this thing is already discussed. This basically means uh, that people can work in parallelly, and uh, the concept of push pull is there. Like distributed version, we have distributed version control system, we have centralized version control system as well. So in that case, when you commit a result, it is directly pushed to the central repository, but in distributed you need to push and pull as well. So Git is a distributed version control system. Example of centralized version control system is Subversion. Next is terminology, Git terminology. uh, so working directory. So every developer has a version of their local as a local repository, and the project that you're currently working upon, the project folder that you have that you're working upon, is called the working directory. So this is your local directory where you make the project. Staging area. Staging area, this is the area where you first need to put your project before committing. So you can imagine it as like a cardboard box. So imagine you're sending a mail. So committing is like very similar to sending a mail. So when you need to send a letter, you first pack it into an envelope, a box, then you mail, then you put in the post box, and it gets mailed. So staging area is like a cardboard box. You put your changes there, and when you're ready, and you're satisfied with your changes, then you send the mail. So you can revert. It is very easy to revert back from the staging area, but after committing, it's not very easy. So that's why you need to be careful before committing and staging. That's why there's the concept for staging area, so that you can be like assured that okay, this is the change that I want, and then I'm committing and publishing those changes. Next is local repository. So Git is a distributed version control system. So every developer has its copy of local repository. So this is the local repository where you commit changes to the project before pushing them to the central repository on GitHub. This is what is provided by distributed version control system. This corresponds to the Git folder in our directory. So whenever you for a project folder, when you like type git in it, so it will automatically create a .git folder which will keep the information for the history and its branches and all of the stuff relating to Git, and this essentially will be your local repository. And your information for the central repository will also be kept in this .git folder as remotes. Next is central repository or remote. This is the main project on the central server. Central server, in our case, it will be GitHub, a copy of which is with every team member as a local repository. So central repository are interchangeably used with remote. So this is the main project that is there on GitHub, and a copy of it, which is the local repository, is with every team member as a yes. Next is branch. Branching means to diverge from the main line of development and continue to do work without changing the main line. So imagine a straight line, and this straight line represents the software development life cycle. So whenever you want to try out a new idea or incorporate a new feature, so what people do is we diverge from this new line or create a new branch. So you work on that branch, and when you're satisfied with the changes and you get it approved by your peers, you can merge that line or merge that branch into the main line. So that is what's the concept of branching means. So we can think of it as a working folder or draft folder. So it is a kind of a temporary project where you can make your changes, get it approved, and you can merge those changes into the main project. Okay, GitHub. So GitHub is a website that allows you to upload your Git repositories online. It allows you to have a backup of your files, has a visual interface to navigate your repositories, and it allows other people to be able to view your repositories. So in short terms, it's kind of a social network for Git repositories. Okay, it also includes some very nice tools for software projects like Markdown, README, rendering. So you must have seen this README.md file, right? So like GitHub facilitates this. It automatically renders this Markdown files. Issue tracker and wiki tools and ability to fork a project to make your own independent copy of it for development. So forking we'll discuss later on in the next slide. So GitHub terminology, clone. So copy of a repository that lives on your computer instead of a website server. So on GitHub, lots of Git repositories are there. So if you want to work on that on a repository, you first need to clone that repository. So what cloning means is you copy that project into your look in your system, and with that repository comes the entire history of the project. The repository is cloned is still connected to the remote version so that you can push your local changes to remote and keep them synced when you're online. So if you copy that repository, it is still has that information. Okay, this is the repository from which it is being cloned. So if you make some changes, if you wish to put those changes online, you can like push those changes to the original repository on GitHub. So what does pushing mean? To push means to send your committed changes to a remote repository, or remote means central repository on github.com so that others may access them. So when you have published your changes or committed your changes, you can push them to their original repository situated on the GitHub. Pull. Okay, what is pull? Pull refers to when you're fetching in changes and merging them. So fetching in changes from the central repository onto the local repository and then merging them onto the current branch that you're working upon. Fork. Fork is a personal copy of another user's repository that lives on your account. Forks allows you to freely make changes to a project without affecting the original upstream repository. So suppose a group of people are working on some software and you wish to collaborate on that software. So what you can do, like if you are going for open source, most of you will do this. So you will fork that repository onto your account. You can make your relevant changes, and then you can submit a pull request onto that repository. So the collaborators of that original repository can verify your pull request, and once you get it approved, it can be merged into the main one. So that's how people in open source contribute to the projects. So upstream, the primary branch on the original repository is often referred to as the upstream. So the repository from which you are forking is called the upstream branch, upstream repository, since that is the main place that other changes will come in from. And the branch fork you are working on is then called the downstream. So the original repository, the main one, is called upstream, and once you fork it, the whole repository comes to your account, and that repository that is there in your account is called downstream. Pull request. Pull requests are proposed changes to a repository submitted by a user and accepted or rejected by repositories collaborators. So once you push your changes, once you're done with your changes on downstream repository, you can submit a pull request. Pull request means there are a set of proposed changes to the main repository, and they can be accepted or rejected by the repository's collaborators. So like issues, pull requests each have their own discussion forum. So they may ask you to like add some more things, or get ask you to correct some things. And once they are satisfied, your pull request will be accepted, and your changes will be merged into on the main repository, on the upstream repository. Okay, let's dive in with Git. Uh, so I will send you one link, and just a second. Yes. So I'll request you all to. I'm sending a link in the chats. So kindly open it and fork it. Okay. Mm. So this is a workshop. So I'll expect you all to work alongside with me. So please open this link. You'll see this fork button here. Uh, right. And I also put this README file. So in case anybody gets left behind or has some confusion, or I'm not sure what the command was, you can just follow along this README file. It has everything that I'll be discussing in future. Right. So let's get back. So you need to fork this repository. So I'll fork it. Now this is forked. This is my handle, and this is forked from my friend's repository. And this is the downstream repository, and that was the upstream repository. So now since it is forked, we can clone it into our system. Mm. Okay. So for cloning it, you can copy this HTTPS URL. You navigate to wherever you see fit. Then
Where
you
is the
can.
link?
It's in the chat.
It is in the chat.
There is no chat. I have joined from a link.
Okay, so that can be an issue.
Mm.
Okay, so I will just send you in your personal chat. Can you raise your hand, please?
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Okay, I think there are a lot of people who are not able to
Mm,
find this.
yeah.
Mm.
For guest, it is not allowing me to send in chat as well.
Okay. Mm.
Okay. So like I will send you via mail when workshop ends, and I will also
No,
share the recording. So
no, I don't think that will work. Okay, just a second.
okay. So on GitHub you can write the username in
Yes.
search box. You will get.
So whoever is facing problem, you can just type this here. It's not very big, or this is the handle and this is the repository. Like it shouldn't be very hard to find, right? So I'll just wait for 2 minutes, and please type in this and you can fork this. Because if you're not like able to open this, then you cannot move forward. Is that fine? So I'll just wait till 2 minutes. 18:24 is the time. I'll wait till 18:26. So you need to copy this and manually
Sir,
type
in the
into the.
meantime, please tell
Hmm.
again the code.
Meantime, can you repeat?
Sir, please tell again the fork option.
And the fork option. Okay. So when you'll open this, no, so there is this fork button here. You need to just click this, and I hope you are signed in to your GitHub account, right? It should show your profile here. So if you're signed in, you can just click on this fork button and automatically it will fork this repository into your handle. So I've already forked it. So this is mine. You need to copy this. We'll wait one more minute.
Done.
Okay, okay. So once you click on fork, you will see that the same repository has been copied to your account. So what you need to do now is you need to clone it. So there are two ways to do it. Either you can initialize an empty repository and then add remote, or you can simply clone it. This is easier in my opinion. So we'll do this. Right. Also, I hope that your identity has been set in Git. So if suppose if your identity has not been set in Git, you can type in these commands like git config global user dot name. You can type in your handle here. Global config. Right. So once you have put in your handle and your email onto the Git config, then you should be able to see those in the list. User.email equals to my handle and the email is my email. So make sure these three steps are done. Once these steps are done, then you can clone it. Just clone this repository. You can do it either way around. Both of them will work. Right. So we have cloned it. Stop me if anybody is
Sir,
stuck anywhere. Yes.
can you re-explain from the start? It took some time for
Okay,
me
no
to.
problem, no problem. Were you able to fork it?
No, I didn't.
Okay, no issues. So did you open this link as I was trying to tell you that open this
Yes,
URL?
yes.
Okay, nice. So are you seeing this fork option here?
Where? Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
see my
yeah.
pointer? Yes, fork. Click on this. Click on that. Uh,
Yes.
okay, nice. What's your name?
Gaurav Sharma.
Gaurav. Okay, Gaurav, nice. So when you will click it, you will see that this repository has been copied to your account, right? So you click on this code icon drop down here, and you can copy this URL, this HTTPS URL. Tell me when you're done, Gaurav. है ना? Okay, are you able to find it, Gaurav?
No, actually, I'm opening both the meeting and that from the same
Okay, okay,
laptop,
no
so it
issues, no
took some
issues.
time.
Okay, no issues. You can follow along this guide if you are left behind. I'll just move forward in the interest of time. Okay.
Okay.
So once you have copied this link, right? Make sure these settings are like done in your Git. Okay. Like you need to set your user.name and user.email. These commands are already there in this README. Okay, Git configure, right. So after you are done with this, you can simply clone it. And okay, next, let's see what things we have cloned into Git. TOTs. So we have this readme.md that was shown here, right? Uh, so let's make some changes here, right? So I'll add a new file, touch test.txt. So if we do a git status, it will show that we have some untracked files, that test.txt, and yes. So a second, right? Hmm. Okay. So okay, so we have some untracked files. So the untracked files means unstaged files. So in order to stage them, you can use this command git add and the file name test.txt. So if you do a git status again, it will say that these changes to be committed. This means that this file is staged. It is ready to be committed. Committed means published. So little background on the commands. Status tells you you're on which branch, and like what are the untracked files and the tracked files, right? And if there are some changes ready to be committed as well. So we have added that file into the staging area. Now we are ready to commit that file. One more thing, suppose you don't want this change to be committed and you want to revert back to the original previous commit, then you can simply do git reset head. So if I do git status again, you will see that it is back onto the unstaged area. So I'll stage it again. Now we can commit it, git commit -m. So this command will be used to commit. So all these commands are there in the README. In case you missed one of them, you can just have a look at it. So new file, I'll just put in a message, new file added. So the syntax is like this: git commit -m flag means that we are adding a message. So the message is new file added. So these messages will be visible to all your peers who are working alongside with you, what this change is about. So I've added the message new file added.
Sir, from where we know about all these commands you are using?
From where? So I told you not to open that link. So you'll see this README. So in this README, you'll see this commands.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Right. So I think people are a little behind. So please do ask things. Otherwise, I won't be able to know where are you, where are you people stuck. So please ask questions in between and interrupt me in between. Right. So right. So we made our first commit. Right. Let's do git status again. So by origin master by one commit, nothing to commit, working tree clean. So it means we have committed our result, and your branch is is ahead of by origin master by one commit. What this line means is that in our local repository, we are ahead by the central repository by one commit. Okay. Next, let's make some more changes. So I will test.txt. I'll make some changes into this test file. So let's
Sir, please
just
tell that commit one line.
commit one line.
Sir,
Uh,
git commit -m.
huh. So you want me to explain it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So so I've told you, na, before committing, you need to put those put the changes into the staging area, and after you put those changes into the staging area, you can commit those. So what this line does is that all the staged changes are published in the repository. So let me just close this. Okay, I can show you this one only. So suppose I'm making a change here, right? So this is the test.txt and I'm making a change here. I'm writing hello, right? So if I save it and if I close it, I will do a let me show git diff. So it shows that I've made this change, a plus hello. So in order to publish that change, I need to commit it. So before committing, I need to add it to the staging area, git add test.txt, and after adding it to the staging area, I can commit it. So committing means publishing that change. So git commit -m flag means that we're adding a message for that commit, so that our peers can know that what that change is about. So let me write modified test file test.txt. Right. So am I clear, or do I need to explain it again?
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay, nice. Okay, so we now know about the staging area and how to commit the changes in our local repository. Next, let's learn about some more things. Okay, let's let's talk about this command git diff. So whenever you make some change after the previous commit, the whatever changes are there from the previous commit is displayed using git diff. So if I open this test file again, suppose I delete this hello and write test. So it says that we've removed this hello and added test. So this is a great tool that will come in handy for you to review the changes that you have made after the previous commit. Right. Uh, okay. So we have set up user configuration. We've initialized the repository. Push pull we'll discuss later. Right. Staging commits log. So what is Git log? So Git log is a very nice tool that we can use to see all the commits that has been published earlier. So
Sir,
I did a Git.
excuse me,
Hmm,
sir.
right.
Sir, can you tell that get it
Okay,
get
get
it
it.
the command that you git def
Yeah,
to?
get it is nothing. It's just a text editor simply. So if you are if you don't want to use get it, you can simply go to your file manager. Okay, go to this git tut, open it, and you can simply edit it. Simple. So it's get it is a simple shortcut. It's default editor that Ubuntu gives, right? So if you don't
Yes,
want to use it, you can manually open it and do it. It's nothing special, right?
yes.
Okay, okay, good. Uh, okay, so I was explaining git log. So git log is a command that lists all the commits in the source code history. So it gives you the commit, its hash, its author, the date, and the message file that we were talking about, this message file. So I made this commit. Now on the top of it, it will show the most recent commit. The next commit will the new file added, right? And these are some random things. Okay. Uh, okay. Next, branching. It I've explained branching. No, so branching is a very like Git supports this rapid merging and branching. So branching is a very good tool to try out new ideas. Suppose you want to incorporate new features and fix some bugs, so you can always create a new branch and work on that. Once you're satisfied with the changes, you can merge those changes into the main line of development. So in order to create a new branch, there are two ways to do it. First, let's use the more intuitive one. So if you type git branch, no, it will show you the current branch, and or it will show you all the branches, and the star will tell you the current branch. So there is only one branch here, master, and the star is on master. It means that we are on master branch, right? If we want to create a new branch, suppose we want to create a new one, exp1. So the name of the branch I've chosen to be experiment1 or exp1, right? So we have created a new branch. Let's do this git branch again. So it is showing two branches, exp1 and master, right? So the star is there on master. It means that there are two branches, but we are currently on master. So if I want to switch to the second branch, so we can use git checkout exp1. Right. So we are switched to the this branch, experiment1 branch. Right. If I do git branch again, you will see that star is there now there on exp1. So like branch, whenever we make a new branch, no, so all the previous commits that were there will be there before at that point when we are creating the branch. The previous commits will be there. The next commits will be a little, can be a little different, right? So if I'm on the different branch, if I do git log again, you will see that these previous commits are there, right? Now suppose I make a new commit. So let me just make a new change. Mm, just hello, or just we can write test 2. So one more thing, after in this git add command, no, you can either use dot or you can use the file name. So if I'm using dot, then all the files and folders in the current directory will be staged. And if I'm using this, if I'm writing the names, then the files and folders whose name are being written here, only they will be staged. So in our case, only one file is changed. So it doesn't matter if I write dot or if I put the name. Right.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, sir, I am using that gedit command in my Git, Git and it is showing that command not found. Can you tell why this is so?
Which operating system are you using? Ubuntu
Sir,
or Windows?
Windows.
Windows. Windows, it will not work. It is for Ubuntu.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So for Windows, I'll recommend that you should manually do it. I don't recall the command in case of Windows, so you can manually do
Okay,
it, right? Okay. Mm. So we have staged the test.txt file. Let's commit it. Test 2, right? If I do git log again, you will see that this commit is being shown here. But if I switch back to master, uh, and if I do git log again, then you'll see that the latest commit is still this one, modified test.txt. This test2 is not displayed here. This means that whenever we branch from the main line, the commits are all different. Like if you work on the different branch, and if you work on the main branch, then the commits that you are making will be different, right? And before at the point of branching, before that point, all the commits will be there in both of those history, right? Okay, next. Mm. We've discussed branching. We need to see merging branches. Uh, so before continuing further, please ask if there are any doubts, if you are stuck at any point, right? I know this is a lot to cover if you are new in this, but it will only be resolved if you ask questions. Then only I'll know like on what ground you are. Okay, I'll move further in the interest of time. Mm. So we are on master branch, I think. We are on master branch. So suppose you're working on some branch, you're done with your change, and you want to merge those changes into the main master branch. So sometimes what happens, that the automatic merge is failed because there are some conflicts. So the conflicts usually arise when same block of line is modified by both the branches, and the git is unable to, like, it's not possible for git to automatically merge them. In that cases, we manually have to intervene and resolve those changes. So I'll show you a small example of that case. So I'm currently on master branch, right? So let me make a change. So this is hello, right? So let's make this hello 2, right? And check out. Mm, just a second. My checkup discount. Okay, okay. Get. So I made this change in hello 2. We removed hello and we wrote hello 2. So let commit that change. Now let's switch to that different branch. Right. Here it is test2, right? So you can see that in the same file for different branches, the different text is written, right? So in case of this exp1 branch, test2 is written, and in that of in case of master branch, hello2 is written. So if I try to merge them, conflict will arise, right? Yes, not much. Says automatic merging conflict merge conflict in test.txt. This is happening because the same line is edited in both the branches, so it cannot automatically merge it, right? So in that case, we need to intervene manually to resolve resolve that change. Whenever there's a merge conflict, no, so Git automatically puts these arrows, this very special uh, arrows here to make us understand, like, okay, which change is coming from what branch. So this hello2 is coming from head means the current branch that we are working upon. So in our case it is master. Test2 is coming from exp1, it means that it is from the different branch. So it is up to us which one of it we want to keep, or if we want to keep something different altogether, right? So suppose I keep it here test3, right? Or yes, test3. So when I'm done with the change, done with resolving the change, then I can commit it to finalize the merging process. So git commit. From exp1. If I do git log again, you'll see that we have both these test2 and hello2, both of them are here, and the final is merged from exp1, right? It means that it like merged the changes from the exp1 branch onto the master branch, right? So let's do one more example. This will be a little simpler one. So we are on git master branch, right? So git checkout. Right. Let's make a change in this one. Yes, 4. So this time I only made change in the this second branch, exp1 branch. Now, if I want to merge that change into the master branch, then it can be done automatically by Git without any manual intervention. So let's check this out. Okay, I hand committed it. Every time you make a change before switching branches, you need to commit that change. Otherwise, it won't allow you to change that branch. That's what it is saying here. Your local changes need to be overwritten by checker. Please commit your changes or stash them before you switch branches. So every time you switch your branch, you need to make sure that your changes are committed. Otherwise, it won't allow you to switch. test4. Okay. Now let's see this test file again. You'll see there that it is still test3 and we want to make it test4. So we can do this by merging this second branch onto the master branch. So we'll use the same command, git merge, and the branch name exp1. Okay. Test3, test4. Okay, okay. Keep it test4 only. Let's make a new branch, exp2. And it needs merge, test txt need merge. Acha. Git So what I'm trying to show you here is, let's just give me a minute. That Git can automatically resolve those conflicts. Sometimes it's not always that we need to resolve those changes. So I'll just show you an example. Just give me a minute. So we have diverged a new branch from master. So this has all the commits that were there in master before it. Now we'll add a new commit onto it. Git test. So it has test3. Let's make it test5 this time. Let's switch back to master. I didn't forgetting to commit those. Commit -m test5 checkout. Okay. So let's merge this exp2 branch onto the master branch. We are there in master. So exp still showing. Test5. Well, just a second. So actually the thing is the history is a little different. So that's why it is not automatically merging it. Okay. So we have two branches, Git master. Okay, okay. Okay. Let's first fix this one, right? Test.txt. Actually, there's too much hodgepodge is there, no? That's why test5. Okay. So git add dot git commit sm test5. Right. Now let's diverge a new branch from here. Git checkout minus B exp4. Git log. So we have test 5 here, right? So if I let's make a change here. Git test. We just make it test 6. Test 6. Git add dot git commit minus m test 6, right? Git now let's switch back to the master branch. We have committed it. Yes, check out master. Now let's finally try to merge it. Git exp. This was exp4, I think, right? Exp4. Yes, so it automatically did the change. So actually, sorry for that little hodgepodge that happened in between. Actually, what happens is if the histories are little different, no, so Git doesn't allow you to merge. What happens is, suppose you're diverging a new branch from master, and you are ahead of, and if the your new branch is in sync with master for all the previous commits, and you're making some new commits on top of it, then when you try to merge it, it doesn't show any problem. But suppose the master is itself is ahead some commits, and your branch is also ahead some commits, then when you try to merge, no, it shows you problems. So that's what was happening in between. So now it's resolved. Okay, so we are merging branches and resolving conflicts is done. So resolving conflicts, you can either do it by a text editor, or if in case you're working with an ID, no, then it very provides some very nice tools to handle those changes. So with one click of a button, you can either accept the new change or the previous change, or you can like manually merge those. Now syncing a fork. So remember in the very beginning, no, I asked you to fork this forks from this async, yes, this from this repository. So this was the upstream repository. So what happens is, what you initially did was you fork the repository from this upstream repository into your account. So in case the upstream repository is a little changed, then your account repository will be left behind. So you need to sync that. So in order to sync that, there's a very you need to there's a command for it. It is called Git Fetch Upstream. So what Git yet doesn't know what is upstream, so we need to add the upstream URL. So in order to add that, you go to your upstream repository that we had in the beginning. You copy its HTTP URL, git add remote upstream. You paste in this. Remote did not match any files. Okay, just a sec. Remote. Okay. Git remote add. Just a second. Making sure that I'm making remote add. Okay. Just making sure that I'm writing the commands right. It's git remote add, not remote add git, right? Okay, so it's added now. So git remote minus v. So we are seeing upstream and origin, both of them, right? So origin is your downstream repository that is there in your account. Upstream is the uh, upstream repository that you have originally forked from. So what I was initially talking about, so suppose the upstream repository has updated a little bit, but your origin, your downstream repository is still lagging behind. Then you need to update your source code. In order to do that, you can do git fetch upstream. So fetch is very similar to pull. a little difference is there, that full pull automatically merges the change onto your repository, whereas fetch keeps it in RAM, and when you can review that change, and once you are satisfied with it, you can then manually merge it. So that's the difference. Upstream. Okay, so we have fetched the upstream changes from the upstream branch. So right now there is no change here, right, in this upstream branch. So it will naturally show no changes, but just for the sake of it, I'm trying to show you. Okay, so let's make sure we are on master branch. Yeah, we are master branch. So git merge upstream and slash master. So what this command means, so here you specify the branch name, right? So when the branch is when the branch from which you are merging is located on remote or on central repository, then you need to specify the remote and then the branch. So in our case, we have two remotes, origin and upstream, and the branch where from which we are pulling is called master, right? So upstream, we want to pull from upstream, right? So you can write git merge upstream master. So it says already up to date, right? Because we haven't made any changes into this thing. That's why it is saying already up to date. Now the last thing is opening a pull request. Syncing of fork means updating from the upstream. That's the same thing, right? Opening up PR means pull request. So we have made a lot of commits, right? So if I do a git status here, it will say that your branch is ahead of origin master by 10 commits. So we need to publish those. We need to push those commits into our central repository. So we can do it by git push origin master. So ask for our username. So password. Okay, all the changes are done. Right. Now for opening a PR, so one thing, you have made your changes onto this downstream repository, but we want to submit a pull request onto the upstream repository. Okay, so how are we going to do that? So go to your web browser, open this downstream repository. You'll see this contribute button here. And the upstream is okay. We need to reload it. Push it. Now we need to reload it. Yes, and now it shows open pull request. So this says this branch is 10 commits ahead of this async master. So you, in order to submit a pull request, you need to go here, open pull request. Right, it will show you all the commits, right, and the respective messages and the changed files, right? So we have changed only one file. We have added this.txt, and we added this message here. Okay, so we'll put this create pull request here. Title is test. Comment we can write is as test only. Create pull request. So it has created a pull request here, async to. Okay, so whosoever is the collaborator here. So in our case, it is my friend here. So he can review the changes, and once he is done, he can either merge those changes or reject those changes, right? So that's how we submit a pull request. Okay, so we are done with all of the things, right? Sorry for a little hodgepodge that happened in between. Okay, so for your reference, I hope that you were able to open the link that I gave you initially. So in that link, you will see that I've created an entire document for whatever I have discussed today. So suppose you have missed something, I'm sure that you're not able to get some of the things that I've said. But if you like explore this doc, you will see that I have written everything that I explained today. So please check this out, and if you feel that okay, some things are still not clear, you can ping me, right, on Facebook or whatever. Okay, so we are done with the slides. Thank you.
So, thank you for joining. Okay,
Any questions? If I see
Hmm.
some people here raising hands.
We also put some questions in registration form.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay then. Thank you, everyone. Please explore that doc, and if you feel that some things are still not clear, feel free to ping me after this workshop as well. Thank you very much.
So we have a little feedback form. So I will share the QR code. Please fill that so that we can know whoever joined or not. Just a minute. Is my screen visible?
Yes,
Sir.
QR code is visible, right?
yes, yes.
Yeah, you can fill it.